everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. We're gonna make some fried rice today, and I almost didn't make this because I don't have a lot of the ingredients you're supposed to use for it. My fried rice recipe involves broccoli, carrots, corn, maybe corn, peas, and an egg. And I only had carrots and an egg, and of course the rice. So I was like, let's wait until it's time to use up some vegetables for something else. And then I realized, or I saw a recipe actually on YouTube, and it used chickpeas in a fried rice recipe, and I thought, oh, that's different. Probably not authentic, but I'm not aiming for that right now. So I said, I have a can of chickpeas, or I have dried chickpeas. I actually had both at the time. I said, let me just make some chickpeas, and I'll use my carrots that I had in the freezer. They had been blanched from a couple months ago. And I said, I'll just put that in the rice cooker for my fried rice. Anytime you cook dried beans, you want to soak them in water overnight, or at least 8 hours. And then the important thing is to drain the beans and put fresh water in before you boil them. If you don't drain the beans and put fresh water in, you will be much gassier than if you had followed my advice. So go ahead and do that. That was off camera. I did not show you the old water. So I have some frozen carrots that had been in the freezer for a while. Actually, these were fresh, and then I blanched them because I knew I wasn't going to finish them. And then I froze them so that I could use them in some sort of recipe where it didn't matter if they were mushy. I don't know if it's supposed to be like this, but every time I blanch and freeze vegetables, they are mushy. So I only use them in recipes where the vegetables get pretty heavily cooked. Now you're going to want to take a spray like Pam or this olive oil spray that we have. We got these spray bottles on Amazon a while back, and we just refill them. It's a very good zero waste option. Spray the bottom of your rice cooker pot and then throw in the carrots. If you're making this with an egg, I didn't want to just because eggs are quite expensive, but if you are, just do the egg first and fry up or scramble up. I don't really know how they're cooked. I guess they're scrambled. Cook your egg first, followed by the vegetables that are harder, and then the softest vegetables last. I went ahead and added this Creole seasoning. This is from Walmart. I didn't think it was going to be authentic, and it's probably not, but it tastes very similar to Slap Ya Mama, which is made in Louisiana, so I decided to continue using it. If you don't have a rice cooker, you can make this in a saucepan on your stove. It'll just be a lot harder. I've been making rice since I was 20 in college, and I've never had an easy time of it unless I used a rice cooker. So what I'm doing is adding all the vegetables. Actually, at this point, I think I'm adding everything. You can put the rice, or the carrots and any other food you have, harder vegetables, in the rice cooker first and cook them for a few minutes. My original recipe says to put the eggs, carrots, and rice and soy sauce in all at once, and then to put broccoli in later once it's mostly finished cooking. There's no broccoli in this particular recipe though. So it looks like I'm putting all the vegetables in now and cooking it for a little bit. If you're making your chickpeas yourself, or if you're boiling them yourself and cooking them yourself, and you want to use the same quantity that will have amassed to 1 can of chickpeas, then you will do 3/4 cup of dried chickpeas. That equals 1 can once it's cooked. So it looks like I am doing 1.5 cups of rice My original recipe was for 2 cups of rice, and I didn't want to make quite that much this time because I had other food in the fridge that I needed to eat up. There were other leftovers, and I didn't want this to last quite as long as it usually does when I make it, which is to say over a week if it's just me eating it by myself. Off camera, I'm washing the rice. It's not as necessary to wash it, or you don't have to wash it as long when you're using brown rice, which is what I'm using. But for white rice, you definitely want to be very thorough. Otherwise, your rice will be kind of slimy, and all the starch will be on it. And the starch is what contributes to your A1C or your glucose. So that's got more carbs than the brown rice does, or very well washed rice. I have been making white rice for half my life now. I'm 40. So my ratio for rice to water is 2 cups of water to 1 cups of white rice. For brown rice, I've found that it's better if I have 2.5 cups of water to 1 cup of brown rice. And that is because the brown rice is very hard compared to the white rice, so it needs longer to cook, for one thing. If you have a rice cooker like mine, you'll see there's a brown rice setting or a grain setting where it'll cook the rice for longer. This one cooks brown rice for a full hour and white rice for only 35 minutes. So even though you're using the brown rice to be healthier, you have to wait longer to eat, which kind of sucks when you're hungry. And then the recipe calls for 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. And then cook it for whatever rice setting you used. It doesn't really matter about the other ingredients, it's more about the rice. If you're cooking this on the stove, I would suggest doing medium to low heat. I think when I was in college, I still do this. I think that a faster boil means it's hotter, and it really doesn't. So that is why my rice always turned out bad on the stove, I think, is because my water was evaporating too fast because the boil was too strong, and I should have had a lower boil. So here is the rice, this fried rice after it's been cooked. One thing I actually did not mention earlier was that I put raw rice. When I make fried rice, I use raw rice. I use uncooked rice. I don't know why everyone else cooks it, like uses cooked rice already and then fries it. I guess that's how it's supposed to really be done, and I'm Cajun. I'm not anything Asian, so I can't tell you how fried rice authentically should be cooked. I'm assuming that's it. But I find it tastes better when it's raw and it like absorbs the soy sauce flavors as it's cooking. That just seems a lot better to me. So my fried rice recipes involve cooking the rice when you're making it, not doing it ahead of time and using day-old rice in your recipe. So this is it, guys. Add salt, pepper, any other flavorings you want. You can pretty much make fried rice with whatever you've got lying around the house. I've decided that's my new thing. If I have stuff that I don't know what to do with, I'm going to turn it into fried rice, because that really worked. It tasted really flavorful. There was extra soy sauce, and it was delicious. So go ahead and like, share, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and follow my channel for more awesome recipes. Thanks so much. You were wonderful.